Hi guys, it's Julie, designer at the Quilted Cow, and today's tutorial is on the back seat or front seat bucket. Before we begin, I'd like to thank my sponsors, Husqvarna Viking Sewing Machines, Creative Grids, Rulers, Mats, and Rotary Cutters, and Wilmington Prints. Let's begin! The backseat bucket is my all-time favorite pattern from the Quilted Cow. You can use it to keep your car nice and tidy. It'll hold anything that you normally would keep in your car seat. Pads of paper, notebooks, laptops, whatever you want. It's got pockets up front to hold your pens and paper. You can use it to hold your trash and keep your car nice and tidy. You can find this project at quiltedcow.com or on our Facebook Lives on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. Let's begin with the first step. Once you have all of your fabric cut out, you're going to need to put your main fabric onto your foam interfacing. You can use any basting spray or powder of your choice. You can use Heat and Bond, the double-sided adhesives. I'm going to be using the Quilter Select Free Fuse powder today. It's the perfect addition for this kit. Just a light sprinkle is all you need. You're just going to line your fabric up right on top. You want to use your iron to set your basting powder. Just a quick little hold in every spot on your fabric will hold it right in place. Repeat for the other side. You're going to repeat these same steps to do the back of your bag. Once you have your main fabric attached to your foam, you can quilt any design of choice. I find that simple quilting is best on this. I'm just going to run it through my machine and do a few simple stripes. Repeat these steps for the back of your fabric. Just simple quilting. Once you have your quilting done, we're going to trim this down to be a square the same size as our lining. I'll be using my absolute favorite rotary cutter from Creative Grids. I love the nice weight. Perfect. Cuts through absolutely anything I need. Once you've finished cutting your front down, you'll want to do the same thing for the back of your back fabric. Once again, trimming it to match your lining size. Once your fabric is cut down to the correct size, you'll want to trim the bottom corners off of your items. I'll be marking it with a white chalk pencil today. So you'll just want to measure in 3 inches from the top and 3 inches from the sides. I'm just going to use a white chalk pencil to mark my outline. And you can cut this out with a rotary cutter or with your scissors. Once your bottom corners are marked out, you can cut them out with your rotary cutter or with your scissors. Your project should look like mine at this stage, just a square with the bottom corners cut out. We're going to do the same thing with our lining, but first we're going to trim it so it fits better inside of our bucket. So with your lining fabric stacked together, doesn't matter which direction they're facing, you just want to pick the top and the bottom of your fabric. Line it up on your mat so it's right on the lines. And what we're going to do here is place your ruler on the point at the top corner. We're just going to trim off 1/4 inch down here at the bottom. You're going to repeat the same step on the other side. So now your top and bottom are 2 separate measurements. The bottom is just a slight bit narrower. It fits inside the bucket perfectly. Now you're going to trim your 3-inch squares out of the bottom corners here as well. The bottom is just slightly different than the top. This angle on the side will be just slightly different on the side corner than it is in the point. Just line up your ruler on the ends wherever it meets, and it will be the perfect measurement. Mark your 3-inch box corners on this as well. Now your lining and main should both be the same shape. The next step we're going to do is put our lining right sides together and pin or clip it into place. We are going to sew all around the bottom and both sides, leaving an opening on the bottom section so we can turn it once we've pieced our project together. Now let's step to our machine and we're going to use a 3/8 inseam to sew this project today. Once you have sewn your sides and your bottom, Make sure that you've left a turn opening so that we can turn our project later. We're going to box the corners of our lining. To do this, I always put my fingers in the corners and just pull until your seams align right in the center. Throw a pin or some clips in it to hold it into place, and you'll repeat with the next corner. We're going to step to our machine and sew this, once again using a 3/8 seam allowance. Now you want to go to your iron station and press your seams open so they'll be nice and ready for later on. I always slide my mat inside to press my seams open and just pull them apart and give them a quick press. Doesn't have to be perfect, it's just to reduce bulk. You'll want to repeat this on both sides of your project and the bottom of your project as well. Now you'll set your lining aside and we'll focus on finishing off the main. The next step is to add the pockets onto our main. With this kit, you have two options. It comes with enough fabric included in your kit that you can make a cotton pocket, or you can jazz it up a little and add a little cork or some faux leather. Today I'll be showing you how to do both pockets, but we'll be adding the faux leather onto this kit. The first step with your pocket fabric is, if you're using all cotton, you'll want to add interfacing to the inside. Next, you'll want to fold your pocket in half with the right sides together and put some pins or clips right here on the edge. We'll step to our machine and sew this. Once you've sewn the bottom seam, you'll want to turn it right side out, wiggle it so your seam is at the bottom edge, and then we're just going to press it flat. Once you have your fabric pressed, we are going to take it back to the machine and add a top stitch just here on your folded side. Now, if you're using the cotton pocket like this one, what you'll want to do is measure 4 inches from the top of your bag, pin it into place, and decide wherever you would like to make your pocket. This is not a one-size-fits-all kind of thing. You can put them anywhere you want. Next, I'm going to show you how to do the leather pocket that we'll be using on this finished kit. So if the cotton pocket's the one you choose, that's how you make it. If you choose to use faux leather or cork, you'll have 2 separate fabrics. You'll have your leather add-on, and then you'll have your lining fabric. When using leather or cork, you do not need to add an interfacing to your kit at all on your lining fabric. You just want to layer them right sides together and clip them in place. I do not recommend poking additional holes in your faux leather if you do not need to, so clips really work best for this project. We're going to once again step to our machine and add a 1/4 inch seam. This time we're going to add it on both sides of our project, and then we're going to turn this project right side out. Once you have your pocket pieced together, you can decide if you would like to leave a little accent band here at the top, or if you would like to keep it flush and straight. Just fold it with your leather side down and give it a little press right there on your seam. And then we're going to go and top stitch it on both sides. The only thing that's different about sewing with leather is when you have your correct or right side of your leather, you'll want to use a Teflon foot or some Magic Glide. Once your top stitch is done and your bottom stitch, we're going to add this to our main fabric now. So just like when using the cotton pocket, you'll want to measure down 4 inches from the top of your bag and just draw a little line. Once you have your lines in place, simply butt your pocket up to it and pin or clip into place. Like I said with leather, clips are best. Next, we need to step to our machine and we're going to sew across the bottom and also choose where you would like to put your pocket sizes. So with this one, I'm just going to follow my quilting lines that I had previously put in and just make pockets there. Once you have your pockets divided and your bottoms sewn, you'll want to go and trim all your extra fabric or your extra threads. Now you'll want to take your back piece of fabric and we're going to attach our strapping to it so that it has something to hang from. Once you have all of your pocket assembled, we're going to attach our strapping to our hardware. So what you'll want to do is just put the small piece of strapping with your D-ring We're going to step to the machine and sew across that end 2 times just to secure it and hold it in place. Repeat that with both of your little pieces of strapping and both of your D-rings. Now that you have run 2 strips through your D-rings, you're going to set one of them aside. The next one we're going to attach with our hardware. We're going to attach it with our swivel hook hardware and to the D-ring. So what you'll need to do is thread one end of your strapping through your D-ring and fold your raw edge under. You want to leave yourself enough room to work with. Trust me, machines do not like it when you run into hardware while sewing. I'm going to put a couple of clips in here just to hold this folded and in place. And we're going to once again run 2 stitches through this one. On your other end, you'll want to attach your swivel hook. Folding your raw edge under, repeat those steps to pin it in place. Leave yourself enough room for your machine to sew. We're going to run 2 stitches through this end as well. Your strapping should have one long piece with a short piece on the end, and then you'll have this extra little D-ring and little piece of strapping. The next step is to add these onto the backing of our project. We're going to measure over 3 inches from the edge and just mark a little line right on the top on both corners of the backing. You'll want to pin or clip this into place. I find clips work best. Just line up your D-ring and strapping on one end and the D-ring section of the other piece of strapping on the other side. You can put some base stitches in to hold these in place, or just leave the clips in and we'll catch it in the top stitch. I am going to add some base stitch. You'll want to hold the long piece of your strapping out of place. You can use a clip to hold it, or you can just attach your swivel hook right here to the other D-ring, which is how it will be when it's hanging in your car. Now it's time to assemble our backseat bucket. You want to take your back and your front pieces, lining them up right sides together, matching up your bottom corners you've cut out, and we're going to clip this in place. We're going to step to our machine and sew both sides and all the way across the bottom this time. Once you have your sides and your bottom sewn, we're once again going to do our box corners. Just pull it apart until your seams match up in the center. Very important to make sure that you press your seams open while doing this one. Nobody wants a bulky bump in their project. Repeat for the other corner. We're going to step to our machine and sew our box corners next. Once you have your corners boxed on the bottoms, you'll want to once again press your seams open. I find with foam it's just easier to leave it stacked together. You just want to help separate the foam just a little. Repeat with all the sides and for the bottom. Lastly, it's time to assemble our backseat bucket. You want to take your lining and your main fabric, turn your main right side out and poke out your corners. You'll place it inside of your inside of your lining, matching up the side seams. Typically this has interfacing on it. Times you just forget. So you'll match up your side seams and pin those in place. You'll want to tuck your hardware so it's down inside and just match up your lining edges with your main. We're going to step to our machine and you can run a 1/4 inch seam allowance right around the top. Once you've sewn your lining to your main fabric all around the top, we're going to turn it right side out. You'll want to turn your lining so you can sew your turn opening closed. Depending on how large you left this, I always like to throw some pins in or some clips. Step to your machine and sew your turn opening closed. Once you've sewn your turned opening closed, we're going to press our lining inside of our bucket. To top stitch this project, you can do it so your project lining is completely hidden inside, or you can leave a nice little lip so it looks like a nice binding around the edge. Whichever way you choose, you'll want to press this into place and then run a top stitch around the top just to secure it with the way you like. The last step is we'll step to our machine and run our top stitch around the entire top perimeter. And that is how you make the backseat or front seat bucket by the Quilted Cow. You can find this kit and pattern on our website at thequiltedcow.com or on our Facebook Lives on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. Please like and subscribe for more tutorials, and thanks for watching.
Okay, you wicked cool quilters, good job. You made it to the end. We would like to thank our sponsors, Husqvarna Viking Sewing Machines, Creative Grids, rulers, rotary cutters, and mats, and Wilmington Prints for the beautiful fabrics. Thanks for watching.